Hey everyone, I'm just going to cover quickly delegated password control access for delegate users. This is basically a video to demonstrate how to delegate control to one of your users in Active Directory to allow them to change user passwords or reset user passwords. There's a standard practice to do this, but it doesn't cover all the different bells and whistles that I like. So this video will just cover those. Let's start with the server backend and what's required to facilitate you to be able to allow another user in your Active Directory domain to reset user passwords without making them a domain administrator. Basically, the way to do that is to stick all the users that you want another user to be able to control or reset passwords on, stick them all into an organizational unit such as the one that I've created here called delegated, then run the delegate control wizard on that particular organizational unit and select the account or security group that contains the account that you want to delegate control to. So in this scenario, I've got a user account, Brian, who's going to want to be able to change passwords, and he's going to want to be able to change John's password. So to facilitate from happening, I'm going to go ahead and right-click the delegated organizational unit and select Delegate Control to launch the wizard. I'm going to go ahead and select Next, add my user account, Brian, or the security group that Brian would be part of if there's more users. Click Next. And here I get to select from a few common tasks, or I can create a custom task. Common tasks, if I selected this, the user would only be able to change passwords, and he wouldn't be able to unlock the account. I want Brian to be able to not only reset the password for John, but also unlock John's account in the event that it is actually locked from too many invalid login attempts. So I'm going to create a custom task here. Click on Next. I'm going to go select user objects in this view only. So I don't want him to be able to do anything other than user objects. I'm going to check that and click Next. I'm going to go and select both general and property specific tags here. And I'm going to go and select change password and reset password. And then I'm also going to go and select read and write lockout time. That's a particular property that's going to be required for us to be able to unlock the account if it's in a locked status. So those two options. And click Next. And it's telling me here that this is what I'm about to apply to the OU, and I say that's fine. So that's really all that's functionally necessary on the server end to facilitate you basically to allow another user to reset user passwords and to unlock their account. So let's go into Brian's machine. This is Brian's Windows 7 machine. This is what he uses on a daily basis. This is what he's going to be using to reset user passwords. On his machine, I've created a nice little shortcut for him here called Reset User Passwords that actually already launches the Active Directory users and computer snap-in. It also opens the delegated OU for him and shows him all the users that are in there. All he functionally has to do is select the user account he wants to reset a password on and click the reset password link, type in the new password. Of course, this password must meet the complexity requirements if those are turned on. And optionally check the unlock user's account box and click on OK. And that'll go ahead and reset that user's password. Now, this screen here took a little bit of tweaking to get. That's what I really wanted to show you. So if we wanted to go ahead and create that from scratch, I'm going to go ahead and launch on his machine the MMC. And click on File, Add Remove Snap-ins, and add the Active Directory users and computer snap-in. By default, this isn't going to show up. For you to be able to see this, you're going to need to do two things. You're going to need to install the Windows 7 Remote Server Administration Toolkit. That's available from Microsoft as a free download. You can download and install that. It's covered on my blog. And you're also going to need to be able to go into the control panel and enable the Active Directory Windows features under remote administration. Once you've done those two things, you'll be able to add the snap-in. So I've added the snap-in, and unfortunately the snap-in by default shows the entire domain tree with all the different organizational units, and I don't necessarily want my I got cut off from the previous video here. Let's just continue basically creating that custom console that I showed you earlier. We've already opened the MMC and added the Active Directory users and computer snap-in. Now we're going to go ahead and create a new task view from basically the delegated organizational unit, just because that's the only thing we want our user to be able to see. So we're going to just say new window from here. Then we're going to go ahead and quickly unmaximize all the windows and remove the old window that had everything in it here from our view. Maximize it back. So now we have just a single view that only has the OU that we want and the users within it. If there were more users in the delegated OU, they would all show here. But we're going to make it even easier for a user to just reset the user password rather than having to right click or click more actions. He'll just be able to click a link that says reset password and has a nice little key icon on it. So to make that happen, we'll right click this OU again and choose new taskpad view. We'll go ahead and click next. Select horizontal list and leave all the other options as default and click through. That'll go ahead and launch the taskpad view after that wizard closes. And the taskpad view wizard allows us to add, actions to each of the different selections in that view. And in this case, we're going to add the reset password action, and we're going to go ahead and give it the reset password task name and a nice little key icon so it's easy for the user to understand. And I click finish. So basically now what we've done is we've created the view that I showed you earlier here that has the delegated users OU in it, all the users, and when you click a user account it just presents you with a single task that you're capable of. In this case, this particular delegate admin is capable of Brian, and you can just click that link to reset the password. And so if Brian wanted to reset John's password, this would be as simple as clicking that link and entering the new password here, and then unlocking the account if so desired, and clicking OK, and that would be all he needs to do to basically change that user's password. It's all said and done. So that is, and then basically just to keep this view here, what I would do is go to File, Save As, and save this particular console as something that I want to mean something to the user, like reset user passwords, and save it. So once it's saved, all I really do is double click it to open it back up, and I have everything right here that I need, and I can just copy this to other computers as well that have the same criteria that I already mentioned before. So that is really it. If you have any questions, post a comment in the blog, and I'll address it as it comes in. Thanks.